What happens when a powerful billionaire orders his wife to sleep with his rival, believing it will help him win a high-stakes game of business and ego? The answer may surprise you, because sometimes the people we believe are under our control have plans of their own, and those plans can turn everything upside down. In today's video, we witness a tense battle of wills between a man who's used to getting everything he wants and a woman who refuses to be a pawn in his game. The billionaire, confident in his ability to manipulate people, orders his wife to sleep with his greatest rival. What he believes will be a simple act of control quickly escalates into a shocking twist, one that leaves him questioning everything about his power, his marriage, and his future. The woman he thought he could dominate proves to be far more resourceful and dangerous than he ever imagined. The stakes go from high to life-altering, and nothing will ever be the same for either of them. The penthouse is silent, save for the low hum of the city below. The sleek, modern furniture casts long shadows across the room, but there's nothing warm or inviting about the space tonight. The glass windows offer a view of the city, but all the lights outside seem distant, unreachable. Inside, however, a storm is brewing, an invisible tension that thickens the air. He stands by the window, looking out but not seeing. His mind is racing, calculating, trying to work through every possible angle. His rival is everything he despises, arrogant, overconfident, and always one step ahead in their business dealings. But he has a plan. If he can get his wife to sleep with the man, it will be a blow to his rival's ego and give him the advantage in the next board meeting. His wife, the one person who should understand him, should comply without question. But she doesn't. The moment she steps into the room, there's a shift in the air. She's calm, composed, almost too composed. Her eyes meet his with a subtle defiance, and something inside him stirs, a mixture of fear and frustration. He's used to being the one in control, the one who calls the shots. But tonight, that control feels tenuous. The tension between them is palpable, yet neither speaks a word. The silence hangs heavy in the room, thick with unspoken expectations. But what if the game they are playing isn't just about control? What if it's about something much more than that? What if the woman he is so desperate to manipulate is playing a game of her own, and this is just the first move in a much bigger plan? Let's dive into the story. The penthouse is bathed in the cold glow of city lights, casting long, harsh shadows on the modern, minimalist furniture. The room feels sterile, almost clinical, a stark contrast to the turbulence that churns just beneath its pristine surface. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawls beneath them, a maze of neon and steel. The hum of the city is distant, muffled, as if the world outside is too far away to matter. Inside, the air is thick with tension, palpable and oppressive. It's not the type of tension that arises from an argument, but from something much darker, the unspoken struggles for control, for power, for dominance. The billionaire stands at the window, his broad shoulders squared, his jaw set. He's staring at the skyline, but his mind is elsewhere, fixated on the deal at hand. His thoughts race, calculating, anticipating every move of his business rival, and the ultimate leverage he holds over his wife. Behind him, his wife enters the room. Her steps are measured, purposeful, each one a silent challenge to the air of command he exudes. She's always been the one person he could not fully control, the one person who never answered his demands without hesitation. It's infuriating, and yet it intrigues him. As she approaches, her expression is unreadable, her eyes betraying nothing of what she's thinking. Her presence fills the room, and for a moment, the outside world disappears. The tension between them is thick, like a rope pulled taut between two people, each waiting for the other to make a move. The billionaire's fingers twitch slightly, an unconscious gesture, betraying his growing impatience. She's calm, almost detached, as if nothing matters to her but what she has already decided in her mind. And that, more than anything, unsettles him. He, the master of every situation, the manipulator of people's fates, feels helpless in her presence. He can't read her. He can't control her. The silence drags on, the weight of it bearing down on them both. Finally, he turns to face her, his voice low but sharp, laced with frustration. He feels a surge of anger rising inside him, the sting of his own vulnerability gnawing at him. Everything he's worked for, everything he's built, is threatened by this one woman who holds so much more power than he cares to admit. He's used to being in control of his business, his empire, his relationships. But with her, nothing is ever that simple. He doesn't understand her. She's an enigma, and it drives him mad. His eyes narrow as he looks at her, his frustration bubbling over. He wants to lash out, to demand that she comply with his wishes without question. But he knows better than that. Instead, he tries to assert his dominance in the only way he knows how, through his words. "You know what I want from you," he says, his voice cold and commanding. "You're going to do this. You're going to do what I say. It's for us, for our future." She doesn't flinch, doesn't show the slightest sign of fear or submission. It's as if his words don't even register with her. This only makes him angrier, though he keeps it hidden beneath his carefully crafted exterior. She's always been strong, independent, and that's exactly what makes her so dangerous to him. She stands across the room, her arms crossed over her chest, her posture casual but with an air of unspoken defiance. She's not scared. She's not even angry. She's calm, and that, more than anything, disturbs him. His heart races as he watches her, trying to decode the unreadable expression on her face. He knows she's angry, but it's deeper than that, something more calculated, more deliberate. She's not about to let him manipulate her this time. The air between them crackles with a kind of tension that makes it impossible to breathe. His frustration boils over, and the words he's been holding back for too long finally break free. "I'm not asking you," he snaps, his voice breaking through the silence like a whip. "I'm telling you, you'll do this. For me. For everything we've built. You'll sleep with him. And you'll make him believe it was your choice." The words hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. His mind races, expecting some kind of protest, some sign of resistance. But she just stands there, silent, calculating. Her eyes meet his, not with fear or anger, but with a strange, unsettling calmness. His pulse quickens. He can feel it now, his power slipping, his control starting to fade. This is supposed to be a game he's winning. She's supposed to be the prize, the tool in his grand scheme. And yet, all he can do is wait for her response. The moment stretches, and for a second, he thinks she might not respond at all. Then, she speaks, her voice cool and steady, as if she's been waiting for this moment all along. "You think I don't know what you're doing?" she asks, her tone laced with an eerie calmness. "You think this is about winning? About control?" Her lips curve into a faint, almost mocking smile. "It's not. It never was." His heart stops for a moment. The words hang in the air, hanging between them like a challenge. His confusion grows. She's not playing by the rules. This isn't the confrontation he expected. The shift in their dynamic is undeniable. The game has changed. What he thought was a simple exercise in control has now shifted into something much darker, much more complicated. His desire to manipulate her into submission has unraveled in the face of her calm defiance. She's no longer a pawn. She's a player in her own right, and he's the one being played. "I've already made my decision," she says softly, her voice carrying an undertone of finality. "But it's not what you think." The words linger in the air like a dangerous promise, and the billionaire feels the first stirrings of real fear. The balance of power has shifted, and he's starting to realize that he may have just walked into a trap of his own making. Everything he thought he knew about her is now in question. And the stakes? They've never been higher. The days after the confrontation are heavy with an unsettling silence. The billionaire's life is meticulously planned, calculated down to every detail. His empire, his investments, his relationships. He's always been able to manipulate and control every facet of his existence. But she, his wife, has been a wild card. No matter how much he tried to shape her, she never truly fit into the mold he envisioned. And now, after their last conversation, the cracks are beginning to show, cracks that he can't ignore, and that frighten him more than any business deal or rival. Every time he looks at her, is reminded of her calm defiance, the way she made it clear that she wasn't just his pawn in this game. She was playing him. He should have seen it coming, but he didn't. He never thought she would challenge him in such an unexpected way. Now, the uncertainty gnaws at him. His frustration grows with each passing day. His mind churns as he thinks of the next steps, how to regain control, how to remind her of who is in charge. But nothing he does works. She remains quiet, unyielding. Her stoic silence drives him mad. Every conversation he attempts seems like a battle, a subtle dance where she remains one step ahead. She's always calm, almost too calm, and it's only making him feel more out of control. He finds himself obsessing over her every word, every glance, dissecting their interactions for meaning, for a crack in her impenetrable facade. But it's like trying to grab smoke, it slips through his fingers every time. He can't quite put his finger on it, but he knows she's not just waiting for him to make a mistake. She's playing her own game, and it terrifies him. The game he thought he was playing was about power. But power, it seems, is a far more elusive thing than he ever imagined. The more he tries to control her, the more he sees that he is the one losing control. One evening, as the shadows stretch long across the penthouse, the tension finally erupts. She walks into the living room, her expression unreadable, but her posture confident, almost daring him to confront her again. She knows what he's been thinking, knows the way he's been ruminating on his perceived loss of control. She stops in front of him, looking him in the eye without flinching. His breath catches, and for the first time, he sees something new in her gaze, something dangerous, something that makes him question if he's really been in control all along. "You think you know everything about me," she says, her voice steady, but her words sharp. "You have no idea who I really am." His jaw clenches as his emotions flare. Anger, confusion, and something else, fear. He wants to lash out, to force her into submission, but for the first time, he doesn't know how. He takes a step toward her, trying to intimidate, trying to force her to cower in his presence. But instead of stepping back, she stands her ground, unflinching, unwavering. His voice cracks with frustration. "I've built everything, this empire, this life, so you could have everything. And you think you can just throw it all away? For what? A game?" She doesn't blink. "You don't understand anything, do you? This isn't a game to me. This isn't about the money or the power you've spent your life accumulating. It's about freedom, about choice. And that's something you can't give me. No matter what you think you control, you'll never control me." His hands tremble as he feels a wave of realization crash over him, and the depth of what she's saying begins to sink in. In that moment, everything shifts. Her words, though calm, cut through the layers of his defenses like a knife. He's been trying to bend her to his will, trying to force her into submission, into obedience. But in doing so, he's underestimated her strength, her resolve. She's not just playing by different rules, she's not playing by any rules at all. She's outside the game entirely. He feels a sinking realization deep in his gut. It's not just that she's defied him, it's that she's exposed him for what he truly is, a man who has used his wealth, his status, and his power to manipulate those around him, including her. But she's not the one who's been manipulated. She's the one who's been in control all along, even while he thought he was holding all the cards. His stomach churns as the realization takes root. He's not the puppet master. He's the puppet. The anger he feels now is not just at her, it's at himself. He's spent so much time building an empire, climbing to the top of his world, only to find that the one person he thought he could control has become his greatest adversary. The stakes have been raised. What started as a simple demand, a manipulation designed to humble his rival, has now spiraled into a battle of wills, one that he's not sure he can win. He feels the ground beneath him shift, like the very foundation of his life is starting to crumble. All the walls he's carefully constructed around himself, his business, his reputation, his marriage, are beginning to crack. Every piece of leverage he thought he had is now in jeopardy. She's not just resisting him. She's planning, orchestrating something much bigger than he can even fathom. He can see it in her eyes, the quiet resolve, the calculated calm. She's already 5 steps ahead, and for the first time, he feels like the one who is being played. His world begins to close in around him. He's no longer the powerful billionaire in control of everything. He's a man trapped by his own game, and the realization hits him like a slap in the face. He might have already lost, but even more terrifying is the realization that there's no going back. The tension between them has escalated to a point where everything is at risk: his marriage, his empire, his very identity. And what's worse is that the more he tries to force her hand, the more he can sense that she's growing stronger. As the game shifts and the stakes rise, one question lingers in his mind: what is she planning, and what will he do when it all falls apart? The battle has only just begun. The tension in the penthouse has reached a boiling point. Every room feels suffocating, filled with the unspoken words and actions that have been piling up between them for weeks. He can't escape her. She's everywhere. In his thoughts, in his gaze. Every time he turns around, he sees her face, calm and steady, but it's as though she's not truly there with him. She's somewhere else, somewhere he can't reach. He's losing his grip, and the walls of his empire are beginning to close in. He thought that if he forced her into submission, if he manipulated her to make the ultimate sacrifice, sleeping with his rival, she would finally accept her place in the world he had built. But instead, it's as though he's opened a Pandora's box, and every inch of control he thought he had over her has been turned against him. She's become a force he can't stop, a storm that's gathering momentum, and the fear of what's to come overwhelms him. He looks at her now, standing in the doorway to their living room, her posture straight, her face an unreadable mask. The air is thick with the unsaid things between them, and he feels the weight of everything, his failure, his arrogance, his growing sense of dread, crushing him. She has a plan. He knows it now, and it's too late for him to change course. He doesn't know exactly what it is, but he senses the calm before the storm. And with every passing moment, it's becoming clear, whatever she's been plotting, whatever she's been holding back, it's coming for him now. The tension finally cracks when she steps forward, breaking the silence that's been suffocating them both. She speaks quietly, but the words are heavy with intent, carrying a weight he doesn't expect. It's a voice that's no longer the calm and passive wife has grown used to controlling, but one that holds power and revelation. "You think you've had me figured out," she says, her eyes never leaving his. There's no fear in her gaze, no hesitation. Just a cold, calculated certainty. "You think I'm just some pawn you can move around in your game? You've underestimated me. You've always underestimated me." His heart races, his mind whirling. What does she mean? The last few weeks, months even, have been a series of manipulations and calculated moves. He's always been one step ahead, or so he thought. But now, as she stands before him, her calm confidence begins to unravel everything he's ever believed about their relationship, and about her. "I know about the deal you made with my father," she continues, her voice steady, a quiet accusation in her tone. The words hang in the air like an anchor, dragging him down into the depths of his own guilt and shame. His stomach drops. He hasn't thought about her father in years. He's always known her family history, their wealth, their reputation, but he never thought it would come back to haunt him. Not like this. He tries to hold on to his composure, but the fear is unmistakable now, creeping into his chest like a suffocating hand. "Your father," he stammers, his mind racing to piece together the past. "What are you talking about?" The silence between them stretches, and for a brief moment, he feels as though he's drowning in it. She steps closer, her presence commanding in a way that shakes him. "He lost everything because of you. The business, the deals, the connections you destroyed. He never recovered. And now, neither will you." His head spins, the shock of her words reverberating through his mind like an explosion. This is not what he expected. Not at all. Her father's financial ruin? How did he not know this? How could he have been so blind? He thought he'd buried that part of the past. He thought it was forgotten. But it's not forgotten. She's carried this weight with her all this time. And now, it's come to light. He stands frozen, a wave of guilt and disbelief crashing over him. The weight of her words sinks in slowly, each one digging deeper into his chest. His mind races. His empire, his wealth, everything he's worked for. All of it now feels meaningless. She's right. He's responsible for her father's downfall, the destruction of a family that he once had control over, and it's all coming back to destroy him now. The guilt is overwhelming. The sharpness of it hits him like a freight train, knocking the wind out of him. For the first time in his life, he feels powerless. Everything he's built, everything he's achieved, suddenly feels hollow. The very foundation of his identity is built on lies and manipulation. He's not the successful businessman he thought he was. He's a man who's left a trail of destruction in his wake, and the woman who is standing in front of him, once a pawn in his game, is now the one holding all the cards. Her eyes never leave his, and for the first time, he sees the anger there, the resentment that has simmered for years, hidden beneath the surface. But there's something else, too, something he didn't expect. There's a quiet sense of triumph, a satisfaction that he can't ignore. She's been waiting for this moment, waiting for the right time to reveal everything. And now, the tables have turned. Everything between them shifts in an instant. The bond they once shared, whatever small connection they had, is shattered. She's no longer the submissive wife he once controlled. She's no longer the woman he thought he could manipulate into doing whatever he wanted. She's a force in her own right, and she's taken control of the narrative. The power dynamic between them has completely flipped. He's the one who is powerless now. He's the one who is exposed. He's the one who is trapped by his own past. The man who once had everything, the wealth, the status, the control, is now standing before the woman who has slowly dismantled everything he's built. For a brief moment, he sees her as she really is, strong, determined, and unforgiving. He never thought he'd see this side of her. But here it is, in full force. The woman who once stood by his side, silently enduring everything, is now the one who holds the power. And it terrifies him more than anything else ever could. She watches him, her gaze unwavering, and there's no longer any doubt in his mind. She's no longer a victim in this story. She's the one who has been in control all along. He's the one who has been played, and now the consequences of his actions are about to unfold. The finality of it all hangs in the air, and he knows that whatever happens next, there's no going back. The reveal has shattered the illusion of control he's spent his entire life building. And now, the price of his arrogance is about to come due. The mansion that once stood as a monument to his success now feels hollow, its vast halls echoing with the weight of his own mistakes. Every corner of the grand estate, every polished surface, reminds him of the power he once had, and the grip he's now losing on everything. He can feel the creeping guilt, seeping into his thoughts, gnawing at him relentlessly. The woman who was once by his side, who was supposed to be his ally in this game of wealth and control, has now become the source of his torment. He can't escape her, can't escape what she's become. There was a time when she was the object of his desire, when he could bend her will, manipulate her into submission. But now, every glance at her feels like a reminder of his past failures. Every moment spent in her presence is a reminder that he is not the man he thought he was. He's no longer the powerful billionaire who could buy anyone or anything. He's the man who thought he could control his wife and lost everything because of it. The weight of his own guilt crushes him, and it's getting harder to breathe under its weight. He should have seen it coming. He should have known that she wasn't just the docile wife he assumed her to be. But he had underestimated her, and now it's too late.